Well, I always have had an interest in science, as I imagine many of us have, since I've been quite young. Essentially started with reading books about science and kind of progressed from there. Certainly, I was never a real star pupil in any way, shape, or form in high school, although I had maintained my interest in science there. One of the things that actually did get my interest in the science was when I was probably about 7, 8 years old. And one of my aunts gave me, for a birthday present, she gave me this token to get me into a book club. And so I started receiving books from the book club, and in fact there was a series of books, and they were called All About Books. And the first book that I ever read was all about dinosaurs. And I didn't actually even have an interest in dinosaurs at the time, but I was fascinated that you could actually have this collection of knowledge in books. It just kind of opened up for me. Oh, in fact, yes. And then after that, there were a couple of more books. There was All About the Atom, which I thought was quite fascinating, and then All About the Solar System. So that's really probably where the real start of my interest in science started out, and it just kind of moved on from there and retained my interest in science, but I was not, exceptionally good at studying, shall we say, in high school. In fact, I would be pretty bad, really. I was a very average student, but I always retained my interest in science from that point on. And then from there, it just did develop. Well, after I'd gotten out of high school, I was in a situation for a number of years where I was just kind of floating around, not doing too much. Still had an interest in science, but wasn't really pursuing it. But what I did have was I actually had quite a sizable estate left to me by my parents, which, as I explained earlier, probably would equate to about $700,000 or $800,000 in today's money. And because I wasn't exactly ambitious, and in fact I was downright lazy, and I knew that this estate was, coming on board when I was 21 years old, I just really kind of drifted. And then when I hit 21, I was lucky enough to come into the money. So I had all this money, was very work shy, not really interested in working, and effectively of the $800,000 I had, I spent 95% of it on fast cars, fast women, booze, and wild parties.